political commentator Blakeman, who shared an office suite with newly minted Supreme Court nominee Judge Brett Kavanaugh in the West Wing during the George W. Bush administration, says Democrats who cross intellectual swords with him during confirmation hearings will be no match for him. Judge Kavanaugh is about as cool and calm as they come, Blakeman tells Newsmax in an exclusive interview. He is not going to be baited, he is not going to be flustered. And Judge Kavanaugh can run rings around senators. Indeed, Blakeman boldly declares, they are no match for him. Kavanaugh worked on the Florida vote recount case for the Bush campaign in 2000, then went to work in the White House. After 2 years as senior associate counsel to the president, he was promoted in 2003 to serve as assistant to the president and White House staff secretary. In that role, Kavanaugh was responsible for every piece of paperwork presented to the president for review. Blakeman tells Newsmax that Kavanaugh quickly developed a reputation in the White House as somebody who was wickedly smart and who burned the midnight oil. He's a guy the country is very lucky to have to serve as a justice on the Supreme Court, says Blakeman, because he's going to be fair. Blakeman tells Newsmax that Kavanaugh is very quiet, very deliberative, very humble. In a town where sometimes you see people who have Potomac fever, and it's all about them as opposed to something bigger than themselves, he was about service. He came into the office very, very early, and he left very, very late. For him, it was all about service and quality of work. He is the real deal. Blakeman anticipates a campaign of character assassination in a bid to derail Kavanaugh's confirmation. But based on what he saw in the White House, he is confident his former colleague will pass muster. I observed him daily, says the former presidential aide, and he gave as much honor and respect to a janitor as he did to the president, and everybody in between. There weren't two sides to him. He was very predictable in his behavior. I never witnessed him fly off the handle. I never witnessed him dishonor himself or the president, and I saw him treat people equally and with respect, no matter who they were. Blakeman says it is inevitable Kavanaugh will have to avoid direct responses to some inquiries over he would rule on specific issues. What Democrats are going to want to do is create scenarios where they are putting the judge on the spot to answer hypotheticals, he says, to rule on cases yet to be before the Supreme Court or may never come before the Supreme Court, and show bias or prejudice or a bent in one direction or the other. In Blakeman's view, the justice's primary duty is fidelity to the Constitution, and to put their personal beliefs, political beliefs, social beliefs behind them when they put that robe on. We expect it from a layperson when they become a juror, and we sure as hell expect it from a judge. Blakeman notes Kavanaugh's name has been on Trump's shortlist for several months, so operatives in both parties have had plenty of time to vet his qualifications. The fact is, when he went before the Senate for confirmation to the Circuit Court, he did a fantastic job, Blakeman said. If there was any opposition research to come about him, you would have heard about it then. Blakeman says left-wing activists will still launch a series of ad hominem attacks on Kavanaugh to keep him from taking a seat on the High Court. They certainly will try, Blakeman said. But I have to say I would be very surprised at anything that would derail his confirmation. He's the real deal. Politics political commentator Blakeman says angry Democrats who cross intellectual swords with Judge Brett Kavanaugh during Senate confirmation hearings will be no match for him. Brett Kavanaugh, Blakeman, Scottus, Democrats, confirmation, Senate 643 Wednesday the 11th of July 2018 5:40 p.m. 2018-4011 Wednesday the 11th of July 2018 5:40 p.m. Newsmax Inc. Newsmax Inc.